Hi everyone, it's Lisa and welcome to Make It Monday. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a card using the herringbone technique. It is cool, isn't it? Looks almost like it's quilted, and I'm going to show you what you're going to need to get started. I highly recommend a piece of scratch paper, or in this case I'm using a grid sheet. The other side is well loved. I'm just flipping it over. And you're going to need a quarter sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Now I've gone ahead before the video and I have pre-cut some designer paper in various colors, and these are 1/4 inch wide, and you're going to need probably about 9 strips of each color, and here I've chosen 3 colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select one color to start with, and before I can get going I'm going to need to cover this with adhesive. I'm going to be using the snail adhesive. If you have a Xyron machine, you can run this piece of paper through the Xyron, which will then create an adhesive front on the entire thing for you. But I am going to generously cover this. I don't have a Xyron that's going to cover this big of a piece with adhesive. Now once this is done, you're not going to need any more adhesive for this project. I want you to make sure that you go all the way around the edges as well. Now you can see why we need a piece of scratch paper, because we're going to want to make sure that we've got adhesive everywhere. Okay, I'm going to move this piece off to the side now that I've got my piece done. I think it's going to be easier for you to follow me with the black background. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to section this off into like a triangle. So it doesn't have to be tip to tip either. So I'm going to lay my first piece right here. Okay, I'm going to move this down a little bit so you can see me. All right. Now this piece here, you can see that's a little bit longer than what I'm going to need. I'm going to go ahead and snip this off. There's no reason to snip it off completely all the way off to the sides. We can do that at the end. And then with the same color, using the straight end, I'm going to create some more quadrants. So in this case, I'm going to go straight to here and create 2 triangles here using the same color paper again. I'm going to break down the bottom half, this bottom section, into 2 more quadrants as well. Again, the straight edge of my designer paper is going to go against the center frame. And bear with me because it is really sticky because I put all my adhesive on here. Okay, now these little scraps that you cut off, let's save those. Those are going to be good for the smaller areas. Now the next thing you're going to need to do is determine what your pattern is. Now in this one I've done the indigo designer paper first, and then I did the Limeade and then the Calypso, and they followed that pattern all the way around. So I'm going to go next with the Calypso with the straight end. I am going to come right up against here. Now you're going to want to get close because you're not going to want to see the white paper sneaking through. You can use colored cardstock if you prefer. And if it does peek through, then obviously you're going to have to deal with that difference in color. If your designer paper is mostly vanilla, then a vanilla background would probably be a really good idea. So there we go. Now we have this piece here. You can see I have a little bit showing. Can you see a little bit of white that's there? So I'm going to go back very carefully and reposition this. As long as you don't push this down like this, you should be able to very gently pick it up. Okay? Now this piece, again, we're going to use it again. I'm going to take this end and I am going to, because it's sticky, make a nice straight edge on it. And I'm going to do the same thing on each of these quadrants here. So this one's going to go here. Okay, and I'm going to take another piece with a straight edge, and this one's going to come here. Okay, so now this quadrant is filled. I'm hoping you're getting the idea, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these other 2 with Calypso as well. Now you're going to see I have the Calypso finished on all the sides. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over really quick, and from the back side I'm going to trim off the excess. You're going to do this also when you're done. You don't have to do it now. I'm just doing it for the video just so you can kind of see where I'm at. I'm not even going to do it all. So this is where I'm at. Obviously it needs to be trimmed a little bit more. So you can see. Now next I'm going to come in with the Limeade, and this time I chose a stripe. The one thing I love about the Stampin' Up! Designer papers is they are all double-sided. So I'm going to fill in this V, taking another piece, making sure my end is straight. The great thing about the striped paper is you can make a nice straight edge. You can follow that line. Again, the straight edge up here, following that V, filling in this quadrant. I'm going to cut these off. And I'm going to create another straight edge. And I'm going to fill in this one. Again, we're going to do the same thing all the way around. Okay, now you can see how I have the Lucky Limeade filled on all these three sides. So now you're going to do the exact same thing by repeating the pattern. So I'm going to go back in with the indigo and just repeat my pattern until the entire triangle is filled. So I'm going to go indigo and then coral and then limeade until the whole thing is filled. I want to show you now as we get closer to the end inside this section here on what you're going to do. You can see that it's going to have to be indigo if I'm going to follow my pattern. So I am going to put this piece here, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's so tiny, how's it going to fit? Now remember, I'm going to mount this on another piece of cardstock. So this is going to get trimmed down 1/4 inch. So it doesn't have to be precise, but I do need a straight edge. So here we go. Let me trim this. Okay, I don't want you to worry about that little tiny bit, because again, if we trim this, that's not going to show. So I'm going to repeat this exact same format in these other quadrants that are here. I'm going to go ahead and finish that for you. Okay, so you can see now I'm near the bottom, and I'm going to need a tiny, tiny bit of Calypso to go in there to finish that off. And again, if it doesn't fit, don't worry about it, because we're going to give this a trim when it's done to mount it. Okay, so I've been trimming a little bit as I've gone along, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and from here I'm going to use my paper snips, and I'm just going to follow this edge and cut off the excess. So there we go. It's all finished. Before I'm done, ready to trim this down, I do go across the back of the card and I rub very, very well to make sure that everything is stuck. And again, this is my finished card. You can see how this obviously was trimmed down. It's a little bit smaller. I did about 1/2 inch all the way around, and I double mounted this because this has a white card base. Here's another one I made with the Comfort Cafe Designer Series paper. And again, you can see how I created a different pattern. I'm so grateful you came and stopped by today, and I look forward to seeing you next week for Make It Monday.